Hi, welcome to NAB 2019. I'm Joe O'Halloran, Editor-in-Chief of Rapid TV News, and I'm here with Tim Jackson, SVP, Sales and Marketing of Globecast Americas. Tim, welcome to NAB.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon.
Now, we've both been coming here for years, but I'd say this show is like no other because I think the industry's changed so much over the last 12 months. How are you seeing the current state of the video and TV industry?
We're seeing a lot of activity now, and the most interesting, I think, from Globecast perspective is we are seeing a giant pivot into what companies are needing and asking us to do. We really started foundationally as a company in the teleport services, satellite distribution, which remains a critical tool in our toolbox of a much broader media services portfolio. And the one thing that does not change is the desire and need for companies to have their content taken from point A to point consumer in all manner of ways. And we are really able to use our entire set of tools to help make that happen.
Well, talking about point to consumer, let's go to direct to consumer. Disney have gone massive this year, and of course there's been Apple Plus. How do you see that whole, as you say, pivot towards DTC specifically changing things for the industry and also for you guys?
Yeah, well, everyone's trying to figure it out, but one thing that's not going to change in this model is all of these media companies need something from industry. There's a lot of content that needs to be sourced in some of the more traditional methods. Fiber delivery, satellite delivery of events, news, and sport, all of that is still coming in, generally speaking, in the same way, and that has to be aggregated and delivered. So I think as companies look at the larger ones you mentioned, Disney and Apple, what their core business is, how can they take advantage of companies with competencies like Globecast to help them realize that need and deliver to the consumers. It's early in that process, and I think we're all really learning about who and how plays where with that.
Now obviously there's new challenges on the service providers, which are your customers.
Yes.
Are you finding you're having different conversations with the same people or new conversations with new people? How has that changed from assessing what the service providers need to do to meet the expectation?
Yeah, there's a real migration within companies and taking an approach of all sorts of different technologies. So we're seeing that the conversations with the new people want to focus less on the tool and more on the process. How can we help them save money? How can we help them use all of the resources that we have to meet their needs? In the past, it might be a specific conversation about satellite or about fiber or about IP. Now it's more, what is the most efficient means of getting the content delivered in a cost-effective manner that we can do?
But given this new way of working, what do you see the new challenges are going to be?
One of the biggest challenges is helping customers understand the role for a service provider. There is a tendency of customers to want to do a lot of this themselves using their existing resources, and really to communicate and show how economies of scale with a third-party service provider can really help leverage resources and make more cost-effective options available to them. We're having a great degree of success with that because a lot of industry, especially the newer players in the industry, aren't necessarily aware of broadcast service providers and what their role has been, or they tend to think of us as teleports, just doing satellite, where satellite remains a very critical part. It's not the only thing, and it's becoming less and less of a portion of the overall portfolio.
You've had a strong brand. That works for and against you at times?
Exactly, yeah.
So here we are at NAB. So what does Globecast have here on the stand to reflect the changes in the industry and overcome these challenges?
Well, one of the biggest issues that programmers have is monetization of content, and there are some technologies that have evolved over time to make that a lot easier. And we are showing a partnership we have for dynamic ad insertion now that really allows customers that are present at the Globecast facilities around the world to offer advertising availabilities without having to invest either in technical infrastructure or human resources to do that themselves. An ad sales department, figuring out how to traffic the ads, procure the ads, lay the ads in. So we're using technologies, including software and geolocation and things like that, to be able to allow programming customers to sell ads. That's a big part of it. The other part is our business continuity or disaster recovery services, and this is really critical. A lot of the very large programmers own and operate their own facilities, but they need something to act as a backup facility, and we're finding a lot of success in helping those customers with again, the economies of scale and a facility that will allow them to protect their content in various scalable ways. It can be something as simple as having some evergreen content available to a full parallel operation of the master control service. And that's something that we continue to see a lot of interest in.
Now, what's interesting, you've mentioned monetization and keeping the show on the road.
Yeah.
These are business perennials. Is that really what it's all about, rather than implementing the next greater technology such as AI?
Yeah, I think in the immediacy it is, because we're still in that situation where traditionally distributed linear content is making all the money for people. And everyone is in a rush to figure out how you switch that over a little bit more and monetize some of the more on-demand content a little bit better. So it's a gradual but slow pace of activity. For new technologies, I wouldn't say at Globecast are on the bleeding edge of new technologies. We like to see things that have been proven into the marketplace a little bit before we implement them. But I think even more importantly is we take cues from our customers. If there's a customer that has a technology they'd like to implement, we're happy to do that for them. But for us, it's really how do we help our customers monetize their content and gain more revenue, because that's good for the industry and good for us.
Well, speaking of what's good for you, what's going to be good for you over the next 12 months? If we're here at NAB 2020, how different a place do you think your business environment is going to be?
I think the diversity of our customer base is going to gradually expand. We're slowly morphing from the traditional programmers and broadcasters to some of the new media platforms as customers. And I think as we get more traction with that aspect of the business, we're going to see that growing even more as these types of customers realize the value of third-party service providers. So I think from our standpoint, it is diversification of the customer base combined with diversification of the set of tools we use to serve those customers.
A new Globecast for the new industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim, well, thank you very much.
My pleasure, thanks.
And thank you for watching.